What up? Welcome back to another Commander Deck Tech. Today we're doing the Archidekts December 2025 duck building competition. This is one of their monthly competitions they do. And the theme for this month was build a Commander deck that aims to execute a combo requiring 5 or more cards. And then it gives us a little link to look at combos if we want to. I kind of already had a similar deck, which was the Orvar bobblehead deck that one of my first videos, I think. So yeah, this isn't like pure Orvar bottleheads, but I remember playing it once in paper and being like, wait a minute, I think I can infinite. But it was like 15-minute turns. I'm like, I'm just gonna like drop out of the game. By the way, it's Orvar. Who is Orvar? What does he do? 4 mana 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery, if it targets one or more other permanent you control, make a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. And then whenever spell or ability an opponent causes you to discard a card, discard this card, create a token that's a copy of the target permanent. Kind of irrelevant. It's mainly here. It's on the board, and we're just going to target things with instants or sorceries, and then go off from there. So I have a small primer here of how the deck works. We need Orvar. We need a cost reducer, so something like where is it? Sapphire Medallion. I mean, we're running Baral just to make things cost cheaper. Same with the Archmage of Runes. This will also let us draw. Anything like that. Thunderclap Drake is another good example. Sphinx Bone. Nope. There's one here. Memory Crystal to make our buybacks cost less. As well as either Mind Games or Clock Spinning. There's essentially 4 mana for either of these to just create a copy of an artifact, creature, or land. Or in this case, permanent. An artifact that taps for 3+ mana, so usually that would be Coveted Jewel, Throne of Eldraine, Nyx Lotus, I think, and Gilded Lotus. I think those are all of them. And then from there, we just have Infinite Storm, and from Infinite Storm, we have a few Storm winners that involve cards like Temporal Fissure. There's obviously like a big Psych Rift. Mind's Desire, we can exile our library and play it all for free. Whereas we got Brain Freeze, that's another one. I think those are the main 3 that I put in the deck. And that is essentially 5 cards. So you need Orvar, a Mana Rock, a Reducer, a Payoff, and whatever thing with buyback. The other combo we can do is with Orvar on board, cost reducer for the Mind Games Clock Spinning Loop, a Vesuvian Duplomancy, Charisma Bobblehead, and Agility Bobblehead. Once you have that, you can make infinite hasted 1/1s. The Charisma just makes X 1/1s equal to the Bobblehead amount, which will be infinite. And then Agility can give X target creatures haste and can't be blocked, except by creatures with haste for the turn. And that will just make all our infinite 1/1s into infinite hasty 1/1s that can't be blocked. And yeah, the rest of the deck, kind of just mono blue cards that help for casting spells. Let's actually go over it. So yeah, Agile Bobblehead, obviously one of the combo pieces. It also taps for mana, which is how you can kind of loop this with like a Mind's Desire or something to just make infinite mana with them. Arcane Signet is Arcane Signet, obviously. Charisma Bobblehead, again, part of the combo. Coveted Jewel, same thing. It adds 3 mana. Also, whenever it enters, you draw 3, which is really, really cool. Gilded Lotus is part of a combo. Idol of Oblivion, all of our things that are making copy tokens, this will just give us a draw each turn off of it. Also, we can make a token of Idol of Oblivion and then tap both of them for 2 cards. Luck Bobblehead, it's in here because we can make infinite bobbleheads, so mathematically speaking, doing the loop infinite times will end up with a win. It also helps our bobblehead strategy. Memory Crystal reduce our buyback costs, which makes it easier to loop our buyback spells. Mind Splice Apparatus is in here to make our instants and sorceries cost 1 less, or more based on the amount of oil counters. Nyx Lotus in here to tap for a bunch of mana, and as a copy target, Sapphire Medallion's here to reduce our prices. Soul Ring is in here because it's a Soul Ring. Sphinx Bone Wand. Whenever you cast instant or sorcery, you put a charge counter on this artifact. If you do it, deals damage equal to the number of charge counters on it to any target. This is also a payoff with your buyback spells. It just goes infinite. Throne of Eldraine, another big mana rock. On the creatures, a lot of them are just kind of like in here to help us get to our combo, and are typically also get ETB effects. Aether Channeler, 3 mana 2/1, enters, draw a card, and also bounce something or make a bird, which is useful. Archaeomancer can bring back our good instants and sorceries. Archmage of Runes draws a card and reduces. Brawl mainly reduces, although we do run a few counter spells. Chameleon will enter typically as a copy of Orvar, so we get doubled copies on whenever we do it, and making a copy. Yeah. Hullbreaker Horror, I think this has a combo in the deck. It's also just a really good card, so I put it in the deck. Leer gives us instant sorcery cards flashback, which is really nice. Muldrifter, obviously, it's like evoke 3, draw 2. You can make a copy of it with Orvar and then just like let it die and then start using the copies for the targets of instants and sorceries to keep drawing 2. Salvager of Secrets, you can return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Scholar of the Ages, return up to 2 instant or sorceries. Scourge of Fleets enters. You essentially bounce all your opponent's creatures with toughness X to less or X to the amount of islands. And having instants or sorceries that just let you do this whenever you want is really, really useful. Seagate Oracle enters, look at the top 2, put 1 in your hand, put 1 on the bottom. It's another kind of way to just get to our combo. Shipwreck Dowser, 5 mana 3/3, enters, return instant or sorcery from grave to hand. Simulacrum, it's in here as ramp. You can also make copies to ramp more, and when they all die, you draw more. Storm Chaser Drake is a draw engine. When it comes to target of a spell you control, draw a card. So we can just target it with whatever and then draw a card. Thunderclap Drake, instant sorceries cost 1 less. And you can also pay 3, sack it. When you cast your next instant or sorcery, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone. Not that useful, but it is a 2 mana reducer. On to the enchantments. Amphibian down 4. Flash, Storm. You can enchant a creature to have it lose all abilities, and it's a frog. It's a 1/1 frog. Yeah. It's just in here. It's a Storm payoff, which is nice as well. Chakra Meditation. When it enters, return 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. And then whenever you cast instant or sorcery, draw a card, then discard a card unless there are 3 or more lessons in your grave. We always end up discarding because I don't think this deck is actually running 3 lessons. But it's mainly in here as like kind of an Aether Channeler. And then later on when you're not going full combo but you're trying to draw a lot of cards, this just helps you go even farther. Font of Magic. Instant sorceries cost 1 less for each time you cast your command zone from your commander from the command zone this game. That's always going to be at least 1 because we need Orvar for the combo. Jace's Sanctum reduces instant sorceries by 1, and whenever you cast a instant or sorcery, scry 1, which is nice. Nightmares and Daydreams, until your next turn, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, target player mills cards equal to the spell's mana value. And then Chapter 4, draw a card. If the graveyard has 20 more cards in it, draw 3 cards instead. This is just like, if you have it on one of the first 3 chapters and you do the loop, you just mill everybody. You don't need like a Brainstorm or a Storm payoff. The card just does it for you. Vesuvian Duplimancy is one of the better cards in the deck. When you cast a spell that targets only a single artifact or creature you control, make a token that's a copy of the artifact or creature, except it's not legendary. So if we're targeting our Gilded Lotus or something with a spell, we're making 2 Gilded Lotuses with Orvar and Vesuvian Duplimancy instead of just 1. On the instance, Off You Can't Refuse, good counterspell. Arcane Denial, good counterspell. Brain Freeze, I said before, it's a Storm payoff. We just mill everybody else. Clock Spinning is a way to infinitely make artifacts. 1 mana with buyback 3. Choose a counter on a target permanent or suspend card. Remove that counter from the permanent or put another of those counters on it. You can target things without counters on it. But yeah, it's just like you reduce it by 1 or 2. You copy, let's say, a Gilded Lotus. You're spending 3, and you just keep getting it back. Counterspell is counterspell. Dive Down, you can give a creature +0/+3 hexproof. It's good to protect Orvar. You can also just use it on another creature with like an ETB draw or something. Dream's Grip, you can tap a permanent or untap a permanent. Also, you can entwine it, so you can choose both for an extra 1. It's kind of in here just to make 1 copy, typically for more value like draw. Fierce Guardianship, we're always going to try and have Orvar on board, so we're going to play this. This is trying to be a bracket 3 deck. Force of Negation, just a really good counterspell. Force of Will, just another really good counterspell. High Tide until the end of turn. Whenever you tap an island for mana, it taps for an additional blue. This can also do really, really well with the clock spinning because you're then making lands that tap for 2 blue for the rest of the turn. So you only need clock spinning to be 2 instead of 3. Magic Damper, +1/+1, hexproof, untap it. This is just shore up, but on a Final Fantasy card. Mind Games, same as clock spinning. It's a way to just win the game. Mizium Skin, give a creature +0/+1 hexproof, and you can overload it to give everything hexproof. Moonlace, have target spell or permanent become colorless. This is a one-time thing, but it's pretty cheap, so it's in the deck. Negate is a negate. Rapid Hybridization is obviously just pretty good removal. Reality Shift, also really good removal. This one exiles, this one destroys. C double, you can pay for, choose one. If one has 8 or more cards in the graveyard, choose both, which isn't that uncommon in Commander. Copy target spell, you may choose new targets for the copy, or create a token that's a copy of target creature. So yeah, it kind of just does like copying stuff in the deck. Shore up, +1/+1, hexproof, untap. Snap, there might be a combo of Snap in this deck, although I don't think so. Like, if you could reduce Archaeomancer to 2 or 1 somehow, but that's not possible, yeah. I guess like Archaeomancer Snap, where they both cost 2, might, no, I don't know. But yeah, Snap's just really good card because either way you can bounce something to your own hand and then make a copy of it too. Time Twist is a way to protect something until end of turn to get around like board wipes. 3 Steps Ahead is a counter spell. Twiddle is tap or untap an artifact, creature, land. One of those one-time things. You see a Guard Approach. This is a cool one. You can tap creature or target creature you control against hexproof. So you can use it offensively or defensively. They can both be used on your own creatures too to just get a copy. I'll ignore lands for now because they're nothing that crazy. And then sorceries, Hidden Strings, very good. Untap or tap 2 target permanents you control. So you can like untap an artifact in a land that you spent to cast a spell, and then make a copy of an artifact, and yeah, it replaces itself mana-wise. Mind's Desire, obviously, shuffle your library, remove the top card of your library. Till the end of turn, you may play it without paying its mana cost. This is just a storm payoff for the combo. And Temporal Fissure, same thing, storm payoff, return target permanent to its owner's hand. Quickly going over the lands. Academy Ruins in here just in case, let's say our good artifacts get milled over or they get destroyed. Agnikella, you can pay 3, tap, draw a card, discard a card. It's not the worst mana sink if you have nothing in your hand. Ancient Tomb, because we're just trying to hit 4 mana and go as fast as possible. Castle Vantress, just another taps for blue but isn't an island because I didn't want to just be running like 35 islands. And you can pay 4 tap, scry 2, which is useful. Islands, obviously, Mystic Sanctuary can return a instant sorcery to top of deck. Nykthos, we're playing mono blue, might as well put in the really good Devotion land. Otawara is obviously a very good blue land. You can pay for, discard it, return artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Costs 1 less for each legendary you control, so it's just like really, really good. Reliquary Tower, because we can end up drawing a lot of cards. Riptide Laboratory, we can pay 2 tap, return Orvar to our hand, or one of our few wizards. Rivendell enters tap unless you control legendary, and then you can pay 2 tap, scry 2, activate only if you have a legendary, which we most likely will if Orvar's on the board. On the main board, these were cards that were originally in the deck, and then I'm like, oh, this is just like a 2-card infinite, so I probably shouldn't put it in the deck. One of them is Spark Double. It can just enter as a copy of anything except it's non-legendary. So you could just make this copy of Orvar and then play something to like target the Spark Double, and then the non-legendary Orvar Spark Double will come in. Now you have 3 Orvars, and then from there it's just like way too easy to go off with like 2 or 3 cards. And then Whim of Volrath, this was just too cheap. Like paying 3 to get Infinite Storm essentially would just like bypass the 5 card needed, so we need 1 extra card to reduce the price of the slightly more expensive buyback cards. Or else we could just make infinite Nyx Lotuses or infinite like Throne of Eldraines while accumulating mana. Same with like Gilded Lotus. But yeah, that's the deck. Obviously there are other cards like Peregrine Drake that I could have put in, done like Peregrine Drake, Archaeomancer, and the Displace combo to just make infinite mana. But yeah, that's the deck. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back next week with a very, very generic Wooburg deck that I worked on, and I'm like, haha, this is really dumb, and it doesn't really work. But when it works, it's really cool. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.